posted a video a little while ago about how to sync your laptop and your desktop together into one computer, so that way anything you do on your desktop makes the changes on your laptop, and any changes that you make on your laptop makes the changes on the desktop. So that way, if you're working on something at home on your desktop, you can just grab your laptop and leave if you have to, and you can continue all the work that you were doing on your desktop on your laptop. It literally makes your laptop into a mobile desktop computer, given that the specs also have to be somewhat similar to be desktop grade, but that's something completely different. What we're getting into right now, making this into like a portable terminal for the desktop. So that way any files and anything that I touch on this is going to alter anything that happens on the desktop. And we're going to be doing the entire thing with Google Drive because they're the only ones that offer enough storage for my use case. These are two fresh installs of Windows 10. These are the latest official builds from Microsoft. They're both Windows 10 Pro. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up on the desktop computer first, because I'm doing this a little bit different than how some people might be doing this, because most desktop computers, you're only going to have one drive, at least for the common public, they're going to have one drive. And on the laptop, I do have one RAID configuration. So that's two NVMEs for 2 terabyte storage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up all of the libraries and everything on the hard drive here. This YouTube directory that I have here, this is going to be exclusively for the archive and everything for YouTube. So all of the old videos and current projects that I'm not working on but I have footage for is all going to go in here. All of my user data is going to go in here. So that's going to be pictures, documents, videos, everything. And then the 3 1 terabyte NVMEs that I have in RAID for my boot drive, these are going to be for all of the programs and everything. For my specific use case, this is going to be a little bit different, and I will have to monitor what I'm actually syncing across. So all of my games and everything are going to be installed on the hard drive here, whereas on the laptop, everything is going to be on this, and it only has 2 terabytes. So it is going to be a little bit different. So I am going to have to monitor it, because there is the possibility that I could have everything synced right here on this hard drive, which is an 8 terabyte hard drive. So if this fills up past the 2 terabyte capacity on the laptop, then I'm going to run out of space on the laptop. So this is just specific to my use case, but ideally what you would want to have is 2 terabyte here, 2 terabyte here, and have the storage matching exactly. However, this laptop is only going to be used for syncing videos, nothing else. So that's the only folder that I'm going to be syncing onto this one. This, however, I am going to be making a full cloud backup. So I'm going to have the entire computer here synced to Google Drive. So the first thing that I have to do right now in your browser, we're going to go drive.google.com. And hopefully at this point you've already signed into Google Drive and you have everything ready to go. Now in here, we're going to make folders that match the system libraries here. So we're going to make documents, downloads, music, pictures, and videos. We're going to make all of those. So now you can see that we have documents, downloads, music, pictures, and videos. So once we have these folders on Google Drive, then we can install backup and sync. It's already done. Now we're at the setup screen. So on the desktop here, get started, and we have to sign in. Right here where it's saying to choose folders from your computer to continuously back up to Google Drive, we don't want to do this. We want to run it reversed. I'm just going to uncheck these boxes. I don't want anything from the computer to be syncing to Google Drive. So now this is the section syncing files from my drive to a folder on this computer. And that's what we want to do. Now for this specific application, what you could do is just leave this the way it is. You don't have to touch anything. But for me, I'm going to change this to the D drive. Now I don't have any files in this drive, so it doesn't matter right now. But if you do have files in the folder that you're changing it to, it's going to sync everything over. So I'm just going to continue because there's nothing on that drive right now. And now the entire D drive is Google Drive. So now we can select to sync everything from Google Drive to this D drive. So that means that the D drive on this computer is going to be every single thing on Google Drive. And for me, I'm only going to select the folders. So now we can go down to sync only these folders. We're going to uncheck this. Once we've unselected everything, we can pick the folders that we originally made in Google Drive. So that's going to be documents, downloads, music, pictures, and video. And now with that done, you can see that backup and sync is setting up. So right now, everything that was in those folders from Google Drive is now downloading to the computer. So now for this part of the process, we just sit back and wait until all of those folders appear. But for the time being, what we can do is repeat the exact same process over on the laptop. So again, we can just go to get started, we can sign in, and now from here, again, we're just going to uncheck all of the system files here. We don't want anything from this computer going to Google Drive. And now we want the same folders from Google Drive syncing to this computer. So now this one is completely set up. We have the Google Drive folder, and now you can see that backup and sync is set up. So again, we just sit back and we wait until this completes and we have all of the folders ready to go. Now it's finished and everything is synced. So you can see that right here we have data, that's the hard drive, and we have all of these folders here. So now all we have to do is just change all of the system directories, these ones here. So we're gonna right click, go to properties, location, and we're just going to change this to the D drive. And we can just hit enter, yes, and we'll do it again for downloads. Properties, location, change this to the D drive. You can do the same with music, as well as pictures, and finally videos. So now, these are all of the system directories. So now we can just operate the computer just like we normally would. Go to documents, we can make a new text document. This is a file. We'll open it and we can write a message in here. So we'll save that. Now we have in here a file with text. So this would just be like a regular document, and you can see that it has synced. This file that we've just created locally has now gone to Google Drive, so it's completely backed up. So now if anything happens to this computer, we have a full backup of anything that we do, any changes that we make and everything. So now what we're gonna do is go over to the laptop, so that way any of these changes that we make also appear over here. So now that we're on the laptop, we are literally just going to do the exact same thing. The only difference here is the local storage location for Google Drive, which is going to be on your main drive that Windows is installed on, users, and then your user account, and then in here is going to be the Google Drive directory. So these folders here are the ones that we're going to be switching it to. So I'm just going to copy this location, and because all the file names are the same, all we have to do is go to this PC, start on documents, go to properties, location, and now all I'm going to do is just add Google Drive. So now it's going to change the directory from being in the user folder to being in this Google Drive folder, which will be synced across Google Drive. That's it. We'll just hit yes, and we'll do the same for all of them. So now that they're all done, all of these factory locations here, which are now Google Drive synced folders, but still local storage. So all we have to do is just open documents, and you can see that it synced the file from the desktop. This is a message. So we can add to this, message read on laptop. We'll save it. You can see that the changes are being synced now to Google Drive, which is going to be downloaded on the desktop. So it's already done. And back on the desktop, we can just open that same file, and you can see that the message was read on the laptop. Adding more from the desktop. Save that. You can see that it's syncing, and as soon as that's done, back over the laptop and adding more from the desktop. So we can just do this back and forth with any files. So for instance, another use case for this is to download something. So I want to download VLC because I'm going to be using this on both devices for previewing some of the videos that I'm making for YouTube. So we can download this, and it's going to be in the downloads folder. We just operate the computer just like we normally would. Open File Explorer, we'll go to downloads. Then in here, you can see we have VLC. So let's install that real quick. Okay, it's finished installing. Now we have VLC installed, and we had to do nothing on the laptop here, where we can just open downloads and it's already there. So let's install it from here as well. There we go. That's finished, and I only had to download it once because it's syncing perfectly across both computers. So now I'm done with that file. I've just used it on the laptop, so now I can delete this. So it's deleted, it's synced. Now if we watch over here on the desktop, it's just going to disappear on its own as soon as it syncs all that information, saying that the file has been deleted, and now it just removed it from the computer, all on its own. So now in some use cases here, what we could do is on the laptop, let's say that I've just gone on a photo shoot or I was making a video. We're going to make a new folder, and this is where we would put all of our footage. So right now in this hypothetical situation, we're on site making a video, and say we've run out of storage on our SD card. We can then import all of the footage to the computer. So let's say we were making a video of some trees or something. So video of trees. Now what we would be doing is putting all of our footage into this folder, and on Bell Mobility I have unlimited data, so I would be able to sync all of this information using a Wi-Fi hotspot to my laptop in the car on site wherever I'm doing a video. Or let's say we're doing a photo shoot and we're taking some pictures of cars, so pictures of cars, and again taking all of the pictures that we've just taken, ingesting to the computer, and then putting them in this folder to upload to Google Drive. If anything happens on site, all of the footage, all of the pictures that I've just taken during a shoot is now synced to Google Drive through the laptop. As a result of this, it saves on upload time because As soon as I get home, we come over here to the desktop computer and we can go to pictures, and in this folder would be all of the pictures that I just did or all the videos that I did at the shoot. So now another use case here, let's say that this video folder right here is a project that we're working on and I'm currently editing this video. Now I can say that this is a first draft edit, and this would hypothetically be a project file. So now for me, I use DaVinci Resolve. So this would be a DaVinci Resolve project file with all of the footage and everything in the folder ready to go. And it opens all of the current edits and cuts that I've done. So as long as this file is saved and all of the raw footage is mirrored across both computers, which in this instance is exactly how I would have it set up. Right now, let's say the video is half edited and I really need to get it done, but for whatever reason, I have to leave and there's something that I have to do. I can now just simply grab my laptop, and right here you can see that first draft edit. And now wherever I am out of the house, I can do final draft. And now let's say that I've completed this and it's ready for render, which in this instance would be a perfect situation for a laptop that doesn't have a powerful processor or an integrated GPU, because you still can run through the DaVinci Resolve editor. It'll just struggle a lot when it's trying to render the final video. If this was a computer that didn't have as much power to render the final video, I now have the final draft on the desktop that's uploaded, which then allows me to remotely control this computer. So if I use TeamViewer or something like that on this laptop, I can now access the desktop from wherever I am, and I can render the video using the more powerful hardware that I have here and the faster internet connection that I have to upload the final video to YouTube, which also now opens up this whole instance of traveling, because I could go make a video or do a photo shoot anywhere in the world using my laptop, potentially not even being in the same country. And then finally, to save space, come back over here on the desktop. Now let's say that the video has been uploaded to YouTube. I've now stored it in that archive drive. So I'll open a new window here, and now let's say that this is the final video and we've copied this over to the archive, so that way we have a hard copy of the original video, not compressed from YouTube. So if we ever have to come back to it at a later date, we have a copy. And now we're done with all of these project files and everything. We can just delete this entire folder, because now that entire project is done and we have the backup on the archive drive on the desktop. Now if we look back over here, we can go back to videos and you can see that there is no more folder because it's completely removed it for us. So we don't even have to worry about saving space on the laptop, because we can manage the storage on the laptop from the desktop just by deleting things in these root folders linked between Google Drive. So that is my current setup, and because I run all of the same programs across both devices, I'm now just going to download all of the programs that I use on my desktop, so that way I have a faster internet connection, because it's going to be wired with gigabit internet and Cat6 cables, and then everything is going to be synced over here, which means that once I'm done installing all of my programs over here, all of the installers will be on the laptop, and then I can just open all of the installers that I've already downloaded and synced across both devices, install all of the programs that I normally use, and then I can delete all of the installers from here to then save all the space on my desktop. So this is a perfect, seamless workstation across two devices to mirror all of your files exactly. Now, another thing here is if you don't have internet wherever you are, you can still use this. You just can't sync until you have internet. You can still store all of your files locally on this laptop, because all of these folders are local directories. So these have an actual physical location on the local storage. And the only thing that's going to happen here, you're just going to store all the files on your laptop just like you normally would with any normal laptop that you'd go and buy from a store. The difference is as soon as you connect to Wi-Fi, it will start syncing, and then eventually all of the files will be on your desktop just like magic without you having to do anything. And this, I feel, is the way that Google Drive should be set up, because if you set it up the way that Google wants you to, it's going to make a backup of this computer and a backup of this computer, and there's going to be two clone backups on Google Drive, which is going to take up twice the space if you're mirroring files across both devices. There's also no way to sync both devices together by doing that. I even talked to Google about this, and they told me that it's not possible to do what I wanted to achieve. And I've now just shown you that this is 100% possible. One thing that I just wanted to mention is you could do this with OneDrive. That's just a feature that's built into Windows that you can already do this with. OneDrive doesn't offer the storage capacity that I need. I have 3 terabytes of NVMe here, 2 terabytes of NVMe here, and then I have 2 8 terabyte hard drives. The maximum that you can get from OneDrive is 1 terabyte, and they do offer special business ones, but it's still only up to 5 terabytes per account, and you need a minimum of 5 accounts in order to qualify. So when I was talking to Microsoft, they wouldn't even give me a price on the more than 5 terabyte plans that they offer, but there's nothing about them anywhere online. It just says that you have to contact them, and when I did, they wouldn't give me the information because I don't have a business account. But for the time being, that's it. That's how I've turned my laptop into a mobile version of my desktop, so I can continue doing as much work as I need to do on my desktop from anywhere. Now, during COVID, this really seems like a stupid idea, but again, you can do it in the car, on a shoot, wherever you are, so it still has its use cases, but once more of this pandemic situation is figured out, then it becomes a lot more versatile for traveling. And I'm just happy that I got it all figured out, because I've been trying to figure out this solution that I had in my head for longer than I can remember, and I finally figured it out just as seamless as I thought it would have been. Now, the only thing that I don't like about this is I have to install another program just to make all of this work, and OneDrive is built into Windows, so if Microsoft was ever listening to people, just offer more storage space. I would gladly switch to OneDrive. It's integrated across both of these computers. It's built in. They force you to have it, but they won't give enough storage that I would need. Given this is more than a normal use case, but even when you think about buying new computers now, most of them have 1 terabyte or more storage. So if you really start to use your computer and have multiple backups of all of your pictures over the years from previous computers, that 1 terabyte is going to fill up. And eventually you will need more storage, and they just don't offer it, which is the huge downfall here. But I have Google Drive all set up. It's completely working, and the 10 terabyte account that I have now is $70 Canadian every month. So on that note, if you want to subscribe, that would help out a lot. You could like the video or leave some comments down below, or if you really want to help out, there's a join button to help support the channel, which also gives you access to watching any of these videos the second they're uploaded to YouTube instead of waiting for the premiere date. I hope that helps out. Maybe this will clean up your workflow a little bit and help you be a little bit more productive. So if you want to help out, then click some of those buttons everywhere, but if not, then whatever, it's all good. I'm not telling you what to do.